Hey guys, how are you doing?
Hi.
Welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. I don't know if you guys are aware, but we're just a few days away from Christmas. Hopefully you all have your wrapping done. If not done, maybe just started. For all those guys that are listening, you guys definitely don't wait until New Year's Eve to start wrapping, or
Christmas
especially
Eve.
New Year's Eve. Yeah, Christmas Eve.
Don't wait till
I've
New
got
Year's.
don't wait till New Year's. You're going to be in the doghouse.
Yes.
So, but anyway, yeah, hopefully you guys are well along your way is all I'm trying to get at with regards to your preparations for Christmas. And talking about Christmas and the holidays, that kind of brings up our topic of tonight. We want to talk a little bit about different weight gain hacks that you can do over the holidays to help, prepare yourself for what's going to be coming. So we're talking about the holidays. We're talking about really any time between Halloween, because what do we do during Halloween?
Eat tons of candy.
Right.
And leading up to it, they put it out in the stores in like August.
Yeah. It starts really early.
Yeah.
But leading all the way through New Year's Day. We typically have a big dinner done on New Year's Day. So anyway, I don't know if you guys know this, but most Americans put on between 1 and 5 pounds during the holiday season. Yeah. So 1 and 5 pounds of fat during that time. And again, that's between Halloween and New Year's Day. So you have everything from indulgent meals to buffets to cookie swaps to parties. And then on top of that, add in stress and cortisol. And don't remember, we've talked about this before, cortisol is a stress hormone that your body produces under stress. And it can also be caused due to lack of sleep. But if you have high cortisol levels, you can't lose weight. You can't burn fat. We've mentioned this before. If let's say you're sleeping one night and you only get 4 hours of less of sleep, there's studies that have shown this. If you get 4 hours or less of sleep on any one particular night, that next day, it doesn't matter how good you eat, it doesn't matter how hard you exercise, you can't negate the negative effects that it has on your metabolism during that following day.
Yeah.
So the same thing can happen during the holidays. You have these chronic elevated levels of stress. Anyway.
Well, and you're staying up later and, your sleep rhythm's getting off, which makes you trend toward insulin resistance.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That cortisol, that lack of sleep or the stress that brings about the high cortisol levels, it interrupts the relationship that your body's insulin and sugars have together.
Yeah.
And it throws them out of whack. And that's a delicate balance your body has to play. And that's part of metabolic health.
And we are intimately aware that your guys, not everyone's life is like ours. Our social circle is very small. We don't do a lot by choice. But some of you have, Christmas parties a lot, like 2 and 3 times a week, the whole entire month of December. Yeah. So it can be very tricky.
Yes.
So we're just trying to trying to help you do the best you can.
Yeah. And speaking of that, during the holidays, typically family will come into town or you'll go out of town and you'll spend time with family. And that's stressful for a lot of people because let's be honest, sometimes we have relationships that aren't the best with family members, with friends. And then there's also travel involved, and travel also is stressful in and of itself.
Yeah.
Getting the kids loaded in the car and then loaded in an airplane or whatever, and getting, halfway across the country to get to the whatever event you're going to, whatever family house you're going to. And then you have the stress when you get there of, getting presents together and wrapped. And, did I get somebody, did I forget anybody? Did I get the Christmas cards out this year in the mail? There's really no end to it.
It's a weird time. And I want to be just a little voice for some of you. And I just want to say, you do not have to participate in family events if it is harmful for you. So you have permission to opt out of these things if you are in danger or it's really harmful for you to go back there. So sometimes we think, oh, it's family. Oh, but it's my family. Well, sometimes there's family you wouldn't invite into your house to sit in your living room. So I'm giving you permission to opt out. Maybe not this year, maybe it's too late, but in the future, you can say yay or you can say nay.
Yeah, just because it's family, unfortunately, doesn't mean there couldn't be trauma involved in that family that can resurface, during these times of the year. So that's tough. The other thing we wanted to talk about a little bit was the way you eat over the holidays. So one thing you can do is use low carb substitutes in lieu of actual sugary, high calorie foods, that you're looking at or typically eating what everybody else is eating. So some options that come to mind are, just eating a lot of the stuff that we show you on what's for dinner, those kind of dinners. You stick more to meat, so protein and fats, and avoid the carbs. Or if you need to, you can also go to the substitute foods. So this is where I love Rosettes, and we eat it all year round. But where Rosettes really shines is during these these bridge periods where you need something to get you through. So when you're very first starting off on your low carb or your keto journey, or during these special events like this, where you really need to have something to satisfy you, to satisfy that sweet tooth without actually eating sugar.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and there's lots of online low carb desserts. Maria Emmerich also has some good stuff.
yeah,
and just to be transparent, because we do try to be transparent, and I'm very transparent in the office when I talk to people, but we will be indulging on Christmas Day. It's one of the days of the year that we do indulge, and we're okay with that. But I don't like to call it cheating. We don't like to call it cheating because if you cheat, it implies that you're cheating to do something better. So if you're cheating on a test, it's to get a good grade. So us cheating is only giving us inflammation and doing things to us. But for right now, we're okay. That happens, I would say, 5 to 6 times a year. And Christmas Day is one of them. And then not New Year's Day. We'll get right back on track. So if you do get off track, get right back on track the next day. Don't let it go to New Year's and then, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And just one more thing on the Rosettes. If you are interested, and we will drop the link to Rosettes in our description. We have no financial affiliation or benefit from that. We're just doing it to help you guys out, just mentioning that to you. But rosettesmix.com, and it'll be either in the description or the comment section on whichever flavor of social media.
And her and Natalie are so sweet. It's just the two of them sisters that are trying to help people on their journey. It's just a small business. So
women-owned, family-owned.
Yeah, and they are so sweet. You guys couldn't even imagine how sweet they are.
You can give them a follow too. They're on Facebook and Instagram, so check them out. Something else you can do too is before you go to these events is we like to do this is preloading with protein and fat. So give you an example. We've talked about this before, but going to our Christmas party, when we had an annual Christmas party for the office, we knew we were going to be going out to a higher end restaurant. There was going to be appetizers. There was going to be wine and things like that. And not only to save us a little money by not needing to indulge in those things, we were also keeping it to where we weren't having to partake in that at all during these parties. So what we would do is Teresa and I would just fry up some burgers without the buns, obviously. And we would have, a high fat, high protein burger or two a couple hours before we went to the Christmas dinner. And we didn't feel like we needed to drink wine. We didn't feel like we needed appetizers. By the time our steaks came out for dinner or whatever it was we're having, we were ready to eat that, and then we ate the steak and we lived to fight another day. So that's another option that you have. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I think that's a really good idea. Because it is hard to say no at every single party, because honestly, every single party usually has something that you're looking forward to. Like your friend makes this at this party, your sister-in-law makes this at this party. So my suggestion is not to cheat at every party. You have to just pick 1 or 2 moments in time and get your fill.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it. But if you don't, that's fantastic too.
Yeah, for sure. We just talked about wine. So avoiding alcohol, that's a big deal. For those of you who don't know it, alcohol is similar to sugar in that when you have alcohol on board, you can't burn fat.
Right.
The reason is you have a hierarchy of how your body burns the different macronutrients. So you have carbohydrates, you have fat, you have protein. Alcohol is in there too. Well, it's not a macronutrient. Unfortunately, for some people, it is a macronutrient. They're drinking enough alcohol that they're living off of it. So anyway, but alcohol, when that's on board, it has to burn that first or clear it, because your body recognizes alcohol as a poison in its system. So your liver has to metabolize and clear that alcohol before you can tap into your real macronutrients. Then there's the carbohydrates. Those are next in line. And then you have fat, and then you have protein. Okay. So that's the top end of the bottom end of the spectrum. You have to get through the alcohol. Then you got to get through the carbs, then you can start burning fat, and then hopefully you don't get to the point where you're burning protein. That means you're basically starving, But
Right.
It's an option your body has for survival. Is my only point with that.
Yeah, there is no amount of alcohol that your body does not consider poison.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. And in January every year, I have a secret group for my patients, and we do no alcohol January. So it would be nice to give yourself 30 days without alcohol and see what your body thinks or how you feel.
Yeah.
But
and now there are dry farm wines, and there is Fit Vine wine, and those are all a low carb, low sugar option for wine drinking. So it's better. And I do like dry farm wines. However, I don't kid myself with understanding what that's doing to my metabolism when I have it. That's another choice that I make, just like having an indulgence meal.
Yep.
So just understand that for sure.
Yeah. And what was I going to say? Oh, shoot. It was about alcohol. Well, alcohol for sure interrupts your sleep.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh, it takes away your inhibitions.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, that's a brownie. I'll have a bite. I'll have 2. I'll have 4. and then I'll have the other thing, and then I'll have the other thing. So
yeah, that's true. Good point. Really good point we missed. Yeah. And then, kind of, we talked about cortisol, so getting good sleep. So, and Teresa touched on this a little bit, as you get into this traveling, you get into all the different events that you're going through, you get into family coming over. So you're staying up late at night, chatting with family, whatever it is. You just want to try and keep your current sleep cycle, the way it is. You want to keep it as close as possible. So I know that Matthew Walker, in his book, Why We Sleep, fantastic book, by the way, he talks about that specifically, like getting a routine and setting that routine and going to bed and waking up at the same day and time, or same time every day and night. That's very important for us.
And which is hard with jet lag. Like if you're going from New York to California, what are you supposed to do? Melatonin helps, but yeah, it's all just tricky. Yep. It's tricky. So all you can do is the best that you can do.
Absolutely. And so that's going to lead me to my next one, talking about traveling and family. And that one is going to be, did you lose something?
No, I just hit my microphone. People are probably like,
is peer pressure. So unfortunately, some of the worst peer pressure is going to come from the sweetest, nicest little people you can imagine, like Granny, or maybe your best friend, and it's going to be not just food, but alcohol as well. So you've got to be prepared for that, because if you are not partaking in the same things that everybody else is, they're going to be, what do you mean you're not drinking? Yes. What are you drinking? So a little hack that we have is when you go out to a party with people, if you're not standing around with a beer or a cup of some sort of mixed drink in your hand, then people are going to be like, what, you're not drinking? Like, what's wrong with you? As if to say that, like, if I'm not drinking, it's a bad thing. But what we do is carry around a cup of water. And if people ask, we're just like, yeah, I've got vodka in here or something along those lines, But
which people don't mess with us.
They don't mess with us too much, because most of our friends and people that we know us, so they don't. But for some of you, they don't. And if you're making that change, if you're having the courage and the perseverance to go to work your way through the challenges that you have with low carb or keto or carnivore, then people are going to look at you kind of funny. They're going to be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Or it's okay, just a little bit of this. I have a family member who I love very much, who is a master poison pusher. She means the best. And if she's watching, I love you, but she's a master at pushing it. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're a type 1 diabetic or you're Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, she is going to try and push everything that she's eating on you. And if you don't, forget about it, But that's the Italian side of this individual.
Well, also, it was a patient that first told us that she spent the summers at the lake. They spend the summers at the lake, and that's the thing here. And she lost a lot of weight and was doing really good. And she used to drink every single day, but she would carry around a Yeti with water, but just tell people it was vodka.
Yeah.
But you think you're done with peer pressure in high school.
Yeah, no,
or middle school.
It doesn't ever go away.
People are offering you drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
No, but it could be someone you completely dislike in your family, but it could be also granny and auntie and all of that. So if you are ready for that, you will be much stronger when it comes up. You will just say no, unequivocally no, not no, or there's room for more persistence. It's just like, no thanks.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
For sure. Well, and the last thing is, okay, so we are all human. We're all going to fall off the wagon once in a while. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to, binge at one point or another, whatever you want to call it. So the key takeaway from that, though, is to give yourself grace. Yes. You've got to forgive yourself. We are notorious for beating ourselves up when we make mistakes. And I don't know whether that's a cultural thing here in the United States. I think part of it is.
We say things to ourselves in our head, internal monologue, that you would never say even to a stranger, let alone your friend.
Yeah.
And we are mean to ourselves.
Yeah, we are. Mm-hmm. So when that happens, give yourself grace and get back on track. What I typically do is, if I have a day when I'm actually going to be partaking in alcohol and sugar and things like that, like our upcoming Christmas holiday that we're having here, I will basically fast for 24 hours after them. I'll still have coffee. I'll still make sure I get my electrolytes. Mm-hmm. So I'll take salt, magnesium, potassium. And and so I'll just get myself right back on track after fasting for 24 hours. The next day I just start eating my 1 or 2 meals a day again.
Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes I have lunch. So it's not hard and fast, but it just means, people will say, all I had was a cookie and I gained 30 pounds because the cookie led to brownies, led to, sandwiches, led to pasta, led to potatoes, led to cake. And then next thing you know, it's been 30 days or 45 days. And that's where the weight gain has come from.
Yeah, so. For sure. Well, and just to kind of add one more little note to this is, you guys, we have a new year coming up. So I know a lot of people are all about New Year's resolutions. So why not make a resolution to optimize your health and wellness?
Yes.
Make a New Year's resolution to prioritize yourself, put yourself at the top right here. Because you can't take it. A lot of you guys are selfless. You're wanting to take care of family or friends or neighbors or whatever, but it's at your own detriment. So you can't help other people if you yourself are not healthy. And that's even if you are healthy right now, you can only do it so long before, something's going to happen or you're going to get older, whatever the case may be. So start prioritizing yourself. Then you can help other people too.
Yeah.
And I would argue that, you can do it for better and for longer if you're taking care of yourself.
For sure. And also, I don't want to, this sounds mean, but like no one cares if you make yourself sick.
Yeah.
Some people just only care if you're taking care of them because they don't have good boundaries and all the psychology things
Well,
that
a lot of
families
times,
do.
Yeah. A lot of times we don't care if we make our own self sick. It's
Right.
like, well, I can fight through that. I'm tough. I'm strong. I'm the caregiver here.
Right.
I'm the one taking care of them. So it doesn't matter what's going on with me. I have to take care of fill in the blank.
Yeah. We do take on some unrealistic things.
For sure.
So anyway.
For sure. Well,
we forgot to say who we were at the beginning.
No, I just didn't. I think everybody knows who we
Okay.
are. If not, they'll figure it out along the way. There's enough stuff in our bios and our descriptions on our page. But speaking of that, if you guys find value in this and you appreciate what we're doing, please give us a thumbs up, a like, a heart, a comment, anything that you can do to interact with us, through the platform. And we're on Instagram now. So if you guys are on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, it's awesome to have you all following us. We love you. And and so we'll drop everything we have as far as like our social media, the links to Rosettes Mix we mentioned earlier, things like that. We'll put them in the links in the description and in the comments as well. So
a whole bunch of hearts and likes went up when you said that. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Well, as always.
Listen, also, I just want to say we are always praying for you guys. And many times I'm just asking the Lord to let his words that he uses me to say to you guys to resonate at some point, to better yourself and to just remember that you're loved and you're valuable. No matter what happens this Christmas season, you were created by someone on purpose for a purpose, and he loves you. So I know that this is tough for some people. So we're just here for you.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we love you guys.
Yes. So much.
God bless you. We'll see you next time. And don't forget, food matters.
Food matters.
Bye. Bye, guys.